What are you working on now?
So, couple projects I'm working on is the NADCP, National Association of Drug Court Professionals, that I referenced many times. They have a journal called the Journal for Advancing Justice. So it's an academic journal, and they publish articles related to criminal justice reform, particularly in addressing substance use disorders and mental health disorders. And it is a well-respected, it's a peer-reviewed journal. It's open access, so it's freely accessible to everyone, which is great. And we publish articles that have a direct impact on the field, in the hopes that people take the knowledge and then transfer it to the field. So I was recently promoted to associate editor of the journal. So, particularly this year, I'll be spending a lot of time getting the next volume ready for publication, which will be in mid-2024. So that's one of the key projects I'm working on, is being associate editor for the Journal for Advancing Justice. Another one that I'm very excited about is I'm working with a company out of New York called CCI, the Center for Court Innovation. And they have recently secured a federal grant, I believe it was $4.4 million, to work on different projects related to treatment courts. And I am part of that grant. And I, as part of the funding, will be traveling the country, meeting with participants from all races and ethnicities to give more voices to drug court participants. Because people will ask me, hey, John, so what do you know about Hispanic participants and their views on drug court? We don't know. I haven't done that research. That research is not done. We know there's some statistics to say, well, Hispanics tend to have lower graduation rates than white participants as well. But qualitative research giving, it's mostly been white participants and African-American participants. So unfortunately, Asian Americans, American Indians, Hispanic participants, they haven't been given a voice yet. And so my colleagues from CCI and I and my research team, we're going to be traveling the country to compare and contrast all races and ethnicities and their experiences in the program. Because I can share anecdotally, but if someone said, a Hispanic participant's views on drug court, what do we know? I have no idea. I haven't done research in that area. So that will be, I'm sure it's a 3-4 year grant. It's going to take some time. But from a research standpoint, we're saying we know a lot about white participants, and we know quite a bit about African-American participants' lived experiences in drug court and why racial disparities exist. But these other races and ethnicities, they've been left out of the research, right? And a lot of that has to do with sampling. I'll go to a court, like in Gary, Indiana. Their court was, I think it was almost 100% African-American, which is consistent with the demographics of that community. But, I obviously can't interview Asian Americans. They're not there. Right. So I'll be associate editor for the Journal for Advancing Justice. And I'm working on this research to interview a national study giving all drug court participants from all races and ethnicities a voice in the services. And then, the thing, quite frankly, that I'm most proud of, I love my research, I love doing it, but I love teaching and working with students. My job, as I see it, I'm sure there's many goals of teaching, but I'm going to teach you something, and then I'm trying to help you out to help you meet your career goals. And so in April, my students and I were doing a training on juvenile justice reform and a fundraiser for the Children's Home, which is located near Baltimore, Maryland. And we're doing a training where I will be a presenter, and I'll be talking about behavioral disorders in juveniles and how to best treat them from a clinical standpoint. Brooke Seam, she's a national mental health advocate and author, and she was on a reality TV show called Chopped. She won the Chopped championship on the Food Network. She's going to be a speaker. And then the superstars are my students, 4 students from my juvenile justice class that I'm teaching this semester. As part of the class, as part of their assignment, they're going to be presenting on juvenile drug courts, where my research is mostly on adult drug courts. So I'll learn a lot from them. And then they're going to be talking about, here's juvenile drug courts, and then what are best practices, some we talked about today, in serving African Americans in all treatment courts. And so while working on the journal and publishing my own research is important, while doing this national study, we'll be interviewing participants, drug court participants from all races and ethnicities, working with students and giving them an opportunity to speak and do as I tell them, this is a very real professional conference. Put it on your resume. And it kind of, the hope is that, we're going to raise lots of money. All the money for the registration, 100% of it is being donated to the children's home. And 100% of that is my students doing good, doing social work. Let us volunteer my service. I have knowledge on juvenile drug courts, and share it with others so we can raise money to give to an agency that can help kids. That's social work, in my opinion, at its best. And I think the best thing is this has all happened organically. And I mean, I was like, I'm thinking about doing a training and have my students involved. And I'm sitting on my lazy boy having coffee in the morning, and I'm watching Newsy, a national news channel. And Brooke Seam, the author, mental health advocate, is on it being interviewed. And she's talking about antidepressant withdrawal, particularly with juveniles. I was like, wow, that's a cool topic. I like that. I emailed her out of the blue. She don't know me. Here's what I'm doing. I would love for you to be a speaker. And she said, yes. No strings attached. Emailing you, Todd. Here's what we're doing. We're proud of the work. We want to share it with others. You said, let's do it. Sounds great. And it's all about, I love my work, but I will retire someday, and I'll be happy retiring. Like I will do my hiking, and I will enjoy retirement. And these students, they are the next generation of social work. And I want to get a spark under them, like I got a spark. I remember my first professional presentation was on like underage drinking. It was in Reading, Pennsylvania, a long time ago. And I remember doing it, and I was like, I love this. And I've been doing presentations since then because I enjoy speaking and sharing my experiences, as well as giving people an opportunity to share their experiences with others. So the event that my students and I are holding in collaboration with Brooke Seam is a top priority now, meaning of my excitement level.
Nice. Well, Dr. Gallagher, I really appreciate your work, number one. I appreciate how forthcoming you are, appreciate how articulate you are, and I appreciate how pure you're coming at an issue that's near and dear to a lot of people in the world, but at HBCUs in particular. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate you taking the time, and we have to do a second one. We have to come back and talk again. And the next time we'll do it, it'll be with your students. So I really, really look forward to that.
Yeah, and my students are very excited. One of them, Rebecca, said, I'm going to take off work for it. And I said, okay, well, I can maybe see if we can work around. No, I want to be on the podcast. I'm going to take off work. I said, okay. And I appreciate your flexibility with we had to change to that one Saturday. But
yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Dr. Gallagher, and we will talk soon.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yes.